a refreshing one. And in this study session, we'll be doing physics. Yep. I'll just tell the chapters which we'll be covering. Mainly, first we'll go through the formula and the concept. Some it will be like solving sessions only. Chapter, this is mechanical properties of solids. We'll be going through system of particles and rotational motion. They are together, so we'll be going through that. And that was your main factors. Gravitation, not now. Those two chapters, work energy and power. Another one is work energy and power. So these three we'll be going through. Correct. Let's start with mechanical properties of fluids. So elastic behavior of solids. We go through the revision roads. Yeah. So stress is defined as restoring force acting per unit area of a deformed body. For deformed body, stress is defined as the restoring force acting per unit area of a deformed body. That is, stress equals to restoring force by area, force upon area. What else is even force upon area? Pressure. Pressure also same formula, force upon area. Next. The SI of stress is Newton per meter square and its dimensional formula is ml minus 1 t minus 2. Stress is a tensor quantity. Tensor quantity is nothing but it's a scalar quantity. Normal stress have following three types. Longitudinal stress. If a body changes its length under a deforming force and the stress is normal to the surface of the body, then a stress is called longitudinal stress. The longitudinal stress can be a tensile stress or compression stress. The longitudinal stress produced because of increase in length of the body under deforming force is known as tensile stress. The longitudinal stress produced because of the increase in length of body under deforming force is known as tensile stress. Next, the longitudinal stress produced due to decrease in length of the body under a deforming force is known as compression stress. Compression stress, tensile stress, I guess you are already aware of these two things. Next, volumetric stress. If a body changes its volume under a normal deforming force acting on every surface of the body, the stress set up in the body is volumetric stress. Okay. Tangential stress. It is also called as shearing stress. When a deforming force applied tangentially to the surface of the body changes the shape of the body without changing its volume. Shape is changed without the change in volume. The stress setup is known as tangential stress. The shape of the body changes or the body gets twisted due to tangential stress. Strain is defined as the ratio of change in the configuration of the body because of a deforming force on it to the original configuration of the body. It means change in configuration by original configuration is strain. Strain is change in configuration by original configuration. So strain can be of following three types depending upon the direction of force applied. Longitudinal strain. Change in length by original length is longitudinal strain, which can also be represented as delta L by L. Then volumetric strain, that is change of volume by original volume, delta V by. Okay, shearing strain. It is produced when the deforming force is applied parallel to the surface of the body and the body changes its shape without changing its volume. Shearing stress is defined as the angle through which a vertical line perpendicular to the fixed surface gets rotated under the effect of tangential deforming force. So, shearing strain is also defined as the ratio of displacement of surface delta L under the tangential deforming force to the perpendicular distance L of the displaced surface from the fixed surface. That is shearing strain. Delta L, capital L by L equals to theta. So here shearing stress basically is represented as theta. Then strain has no units, no dimensions. I guess we all are aware why no dimensions nor no units. They get cancelled out in the equation. So no units, no dimensions. If a beam is bent, both compression strain as well as extension strain are produced. This is noteworthy point. When beam is bent, both compression strain as well as extension strain are produced. Okay? Hooke's law states that within elastic limit, stress is directly proportional to strain. Hooke's are very important. It is within elastic limit, stress is directly proportional to strain. So, yeah, within elastic limit. Okay. So keywords we have: deforming force is is that force which, when applied, changes the configuration of the body. Elasticity is the property of the body by virtue of which the body regains its original configuration, length or length, volume, or shape, when the deforming forces are removed. Perfectly elastic body is that body which perfectly regains its original form on removing the external deforming force. That is example of quads. Plastic body is that body which does not regain its original form at all on the removal of deforming force, howsoever small the deforming force may be. Example, putty and paraffin wax. Elastic limit is the upper limit of deforming force up to which, if deforming force is removed, the body regains its original form completely, and beyond which, if the force is increased, the body loses its property of elasticity and it's permanently deformed. Elastic limit is the property of a body, whereas elasticity is the property of a material of a body. So you should know the difference between elastic limit and elasticity. They are two different terms on the board. Now, we just done. Next, we have again key formula: normal stress S equals to force per unit area. Then breaking force BF. Breaking force is breaking stress into area of cross section. The amount of stress applied, that is breaking stress, into the area of cross section is known as breaking force. Longitudinal strain is delta L by L. Volumetric strain is delta V by V. Shearing strain is delta L by L. That's capital L by L, not the length. Next, modulus of elasticity. This is important. Before one, what we studied was elastic behavior of solids. Now we'll study modulus of elasticity. Revision notes. Modulus of elasticity or coefficient of elasticity of a body is defined as the ratio of stress to the corresponding strain produced within the elastic limit. That is stress by strain, E. So modulus of elasticity is represented as capital E, and capital E stands for stress by strain. I guess we're already aware about Hooke's law. It's linked with Hooke's law. Here the modulus of elasticity is like coefficient of elasticity. It's not just E. I mean, it's not Hooke's law, but it means this thing, like stress by strain equals to E. That is modulus of elasticity. Simple example: rubber band. Rubber band, if we stress, it's elastic and it comes back to its original position. So it has an elastic limit. So if I stretch it more than based on its limit, it's get like cut and it gets deformed, due to which it cannot return back to its original shape. That is one such example. Many are there. Modulus of elasticity is of three types. So in the modulus of elasticity, we have further three types. First one is Young's modulus of elasticity. Who is this? He's a scientist. He researched and he gave this formula for us. So Young's modulus of elasticity, it is defined as the ratio of longitudinal stress to the longitudinal strain with the elastic limit. That is longitudinal stress by longitudinal strain. Longitudinal stress by longitudinal strain. Okay. So force per unit, that is F by A divided by delta L by L, which equals to F by A into L by delta L. That's the formula of modulus of elasticity. F by A divided by delta L by L, which equals to F by A into L by delta L. This is Young's modulus of elasticity. That's what he was explaining about. This is longitudinal stress. This is longitudinal stress per longitudinal strain. This stress, force per unit. Longitudinal stress per longitudinal strain. Okay. Yeah, Y is the property of solid material only. Y increases on mixing the impurity in the solid and decreases on increasing the temperature of the solid body. So Y stands for the impurity and Y stands for even Young's modulus. Bulk modulus of elasticity K or with bulk modulus. K is defined as by Maxwell. Okay, it is defined as the ratio of volume of stress to the volumetric strain within the elastic limit. That is, K equals to minus of volume stress by volumetric strain. Minus of volume stress by volumetric strain. So K equals to delta V by V. That is P into delta P into V by delta V. We have minus sign also, we shouldn't forget that. So this formula is basically like minus of P into V by delta V. This is Bulk's modulus of elasticity, where we talk about volume stress by volumetric stress, minus sign also. Minus of volume stress by volumetric stress. Next K is the property of solids, liquids and gases. So it's common for one and all, not like Young's modulus. Modulus of rigidity we have, and this is represented as eta, meaning that N symbol big one is now called eta. It is defined as the ratio of tangential stress to the shearing stress. Tangential stress to the shearing strain within the elastic limit. That is, eta equals to tangential stress by shearing strain. Tangential stress by shearing strain is known as eta. So what is that? F by A by theta equals to F by A into theta. Shearing stress stands for theta itself. Tangential stress is the force per unit area. So shearing tangential stress divided by shearing strain is known as eta. That is the modulus of rigidity. Modulus of rigidity. Eta is the characteristic of solid material only, as the liquids and gases do not have fixed shape. Eta for liquid is 0, and for gas, this liquid doesn't have a shape, it has volume all over the place. Poisson's ratio. Poisson's ratio is represented by sigma. It is defined as the ratio of lateral strain to the longitudinal strain. That is, sigma equals to lateral strain by longitudinal strain. Delta D by D divided by delta L by L equals to minus of delta D into L by D into delta L. That is the Poisson's ratio. Delta D by D into L by delta D. So numerical value of sigma lies between minus 1 and plus 1 by 2. But practical value of sigma lies between 0 and plus 1 by 2. So numerically it's minus 1 to plus of 1 by 2. Practically it's 0 to 1 by 2. Keywords. Compressibility is defined as the reciprocal of bulk modulus of elasticity. Compressibility C equals to 1 by Q. So minus of delta V by V into P is compressibility. So elastic fatigue is the loss in strength of a material caused due to repeated alternating strains to which the material is subjected. Yield strength of a material is defined as the maximum stress it can sustain without crossing the elastic limit. Again, we have certain key formulas to be remembered. That is Young's modulus. Y equals to FL and F into L divided by A into delta L. Then we have Bulk's modulus, which is K, which deals by minus of force by area into V by delta V, which can also be referred like P. What is P here? Pressure. Force per unit area is pressure, like I told in the beginning. So it's like minus P into V by delta V. That's what we studied in compressibility. Compressibility is that okay, the pressure applied. and to the pressure applied to the volume. So like the volume delta V means initial volume to the original volume. So the change in the volume to the original volume is the delta V by V. So that thing is compressible. We studied Young's modulus, then we studied Bulk's modulus, then modulus of rigidity, eta equals to F by A. This force per unit area is common. Only thing which changes is the next thing, like the denominator thing which is keep on changing here. That is L into delta L or L by delta L for modulus of rigidity. Here L is not the same L as in Young's modulus. Those two are completely different factors. Okay. Then we have Poisson's ratio. This with sigma, that is minus. Again, Poisson's ratio also has minus, and Bulk's modulus also has minus. That is minus delta D by D into L by delta L. Now we have certain relation among various elastic constants. Relation between um, y, k, and sigma. Young's modulus of elasticity, Bulk's modulus, and sigma. That is y equals to 3 equals to 3 times k into the bracket 1 minus 2 times alpha. Then relation between y, eta and sigma, in that you can see that y equals to 2 times of eta by 1 plus sigma. Then we have relation between k and then k, eta and sigma, Bulk's modulus, then rigidity and Poisson's ratio. That is sigma equals to 3k minus 2 eta by 2 eta plus 6k. Then we have another one, that is relation between y, k and eta. That is 9 times by 9 by gamma equals to 1 by k plus of 3 by eta. Okay, these are certain formulas. Then we have elastic potential energy in stretched wire. U equals to half into stress into strain into volume of wire. Wow. Half into stress into strain into volume of wire. That is elastic potential energy in stretched wire. Potential energy. Now elastic potential energy per unit volume of wire. U equals to half into stress into strain. Now half into gamma into strain squared. What is this? We substituted the equation. Basically nothing. Okay, like stress by strain. Gamma equals to stress by strain. So like gamma into strain equals to stress. We substituted instead of stress gamma into strain into again strain. So that becomes strain square. So equals to half into gamma into strain square. Okay, gamma y. Young's modulus. So here y equals to stress by strain. So instead of that stress, we substituted stress equals to y into strain, and that substituted in this equation became half into y into strain. That resulted in half into y into strain square. Okay, now work done in a stretching wire. So for that, work done is half into load into extension. Work done equals to half into load into extension. So yes, we have certain concept provided, Poisson's ratio. So we remember that value of Poisson's ratio lies between 0 to 1 by 2 in practical. In numerical, it's minus 1 by 1 by 2. That was all of mechanical properties of solids. Now let's quickly go through system of particles chapter. It's big actually. Then we'll go through work energy. Energy is small. On that. Okay, then we have system of particles and rotational motion. First thing first, center of mass and motion of rotation particles. Division notes kinds of motion of rigid body. Pure transitional motion. All particles of the body are moving together with same velocity at particular instant of time. Example, a car moving in a straight line. Then we have pure rotational motion. Translation meaning linear motion. Pure rotational motion. A rigid body rotates about a fixed axis. Every particle of the body moves in a circle which lies in a plane perpendicular to its axis and has its center on the axis. Example of bodies. Combination of translational and rotational motion. The motion of a rigid body which is not pivoted or fixed in some ways, either pure translational motion or a combination of translational and rotational. Example of vehicle's wheel. Center of mass of a two particle system. Motion with position vector of center of mass of two particle system is such that the product of total mass of the system and position vector of the center of mass is equal to the sum of the products of masses of two particles and their respective position vectors. Then we have momentum conservation. Total linear momentum of a system of particles is equal to the products of the total mass of the system and the velocity of its center of mass. Yes, we all know what is momentum formula. P equals to m into. Differentiating it, we get further different formulas, and hence we can tell for isolated system, force external is 0. But then we get m into v equals to constant. Right. Moment of force on or torque. Moment of force or torque. Torque due to a force is moment of force or and measures the turning effect to the force about the axis of rotation. The general expression for torque is rho. Rho. Not rho. Just torque. Torque equals to R, perpendicular distance into force applied. Let me see what is this. Tau. Tau into R. Tau equals to R into F. Okay. Angular momentum and its conservation. Angular momentum of a particle about a given axis is the moment of linear momentum of the particle about the axis. It is equal to the product of linear momentum of the particle and the perpendicular distance of the line of action of linear momentum from the axis of rotation. It is the product of linear momentum and the perpendicular distance of its line of action from the axis of rotation. What? Okay. So L equals to R into P, which equals to RP sin theta. Here theta is replaced by phi. So d bar into p bar. You should see this. Where d equals to R sin phi. Perpendicular distance of line of action p bar from the axis. Angular momentum is a vector quantity whose direction is given by right hand screw. Okay, then we have rate of change of angular momentum is torque. Rate of change of angular momentum is torque. Okay, lateral length is directly perpendicular to d and p. Tau equals to dl by dt, then the whole substitution. Isolated system again, tau equals to 0, then yeah, we are proving that L bar is constant. So equilibrium of rigid bodies. First condition. A rigid body is said to be in translational equilibrium if it remains at resting or moving with a constant velocity at particular direction. For this, the net external force of the vector sum of all external forces acting on the body must be 0. That is, sum of tau I equals to 0. Translational static equilibrium is of three types. Stable equilibrium, unstable equilibrium, neutral equilibrium. Okay. Second condition, a rigid body is said to be in rotational equilibrium if the body does not rotate or rotates with constant angular velocity. For this, the net external torque or the vector sum of all the torques acting on the body, that is summation of tau I equals to 0, must be 0. Principle of moments. According to the principle of moments, body will be in rotational equilibrium if algebraic sum of the moments of all the forces acting on the body about a fixed point is 0. Keywords. A rigid body is defined as a system of particles in which the distance between of external forces, where the size and shape of the body remain under the effect of external force. The center of mass of the body is a point where the whole mass of the body is supposed to be concentrated. If all the forces acting on the body were applied at the center of mass, the nature of motion of the body shall remain unaffected. Center of gravity. A body of a body is a point where the weight of the body acts and total gravitational torque on the body is zero. Then again, key formula. We have position vector of center of mass of n particle system. So then r bar equals to summation of I equals to 1 to n such that mi ri by m, where m is the total mass to the system. M equals to summation of I equals to 1 to n mi. For two particle system, r1 r equals to m1 r1 m1 into m1 r1 plus m2 r2 by m1 plus m2. Coordinates of center of mass x equals to same m1 x1 plus m2 x2 equals to m1 plus m2, y equals to m1 y1 plus m2 y1, y2 equals to m1 plus m2, z equals to m1 z1 plus m2 z2 by m1 plus m2. Velocity of center of mass of a system of two particles is velocity is against. Again, angular momentum, we have angular momentum L equals to R into M into V. This is important. Angular momentum L equals to equations of rotational motion. Now we came to rotational motion. Theta equals to omega t plus half a t half alpha t square. V equals to r omega equals to 2 pi v equals to 2 pi equals to r into alpha. Centripetal acceleration equals to v square by r, which equals to r upon omega square. And again, torque is again tau bar equals to r bar into L. 1 10 by torque dw equals to tau into d theta. Power of torque is p dw by dt, that is d theta by t, that is p equals to rho into omega. Then we have moment of inertia and radius of curvature. Oh, finally got done with this seconds. Okay, revision notes. Principle of conservation of angular momentum. According to this principle, when no external torque acts on a system of particles, then the total angular momentum of the system always remains a constant. That is, L bar equals to L into L and constant. Laws of rotational motion. Law 1. A body continues to be in a state of rest or in a state of uniform rotation about a given axis unless an external torque is applied on the body. Second one, the rate of change of angular momentum of a body about a given axis is directly proportional to the external torque applied on the body. When a rigid body A exerts a torque on another rigid body B in contact with it, then the body B would exert an equal and opposite torque on the body. Moment of inertia of a body about a given axis is the property by virtue of which the body opposes any change in its state of rest or state of uniform rotation about that axis. For single particle, moment of inertia I is equal to product of mass of the particle and square of perpendicular distance of the particle from the axis of rotation. We also have oscillations. Oscillations, yeah, so I have to cover this. After this I go to work and energy, then I go to oscillations. Moment of inertia is a scalar quantity. Yeah, before that I equals to mr square, that is very important. Moment of inertia is a scalar quantity which unit is kg meter square. It plays the same role in rotational motion as played by mass and linear momentum. Radius of gyration of a body about a given axis is the distance k of a point from the given axis, where if the whole mass of the body is concentrated, the body would have the same moment of inertia as it has with the actual distribution of mass. Kinetic energy of rotation of a body is the energy possessed by body on account of its rotation by about a given axis. Key formulas: we have circular ring I equals to mr square, circular disc I equals to half mr square, angular disc or ring we have half of r square plus r square. Then we have thin rod ml square by 12. Then solid cylinder is half mr square by 2. Then we have hollow cylinder mr square, solid sphere 2 by 5 of mr square. Solid sphere is 2 by 5 of mr square. Then hollow sphere is 2 by 3 of mr square. Solid cylinder is half mr square by 2. Ring or ring. Solid cylinder about axis through its center of mass. Hollow cylinder. Okay, about an axis passing through C, G and perpendicular to its own axis. Uniform rectangular lamina or thin slab. About an axis passing through C, G and perpendicular to its plane. M equals to L, so M into L square plus B square by 12. Where L is length and B is breadth. Elliptical disc m by 4 a square plus b square. About an axis passing through its C, G and perpendicular to its plane. A semi-major axis, B semi-minor axis. Uniform cone about an axis joining the vertex to the center of its base. I equals to 3 by 10 mr square. Triangular lamina, we have L1 equals to m into h square by 6 about the base as axis, L2 equals to b square by 6 into m about the height as axis, L3 equals to m b square h square by 6 into b square plus h square about the hypotenuse as axis. Kinetic energy of rotation. Kinetic energy equals to half I omega square. Angular momentum L equals to I omega. Relation between angular momentum and torque. Tau equals to I into alpha, tau equals to so from principal conservation of angular momentum, I1 by I2 equals to tau 1 by tau. Radius of gyration K equals to root over R1 square plus R2 square plus of Rn square by n. So here perpendicular distance of particles from the axis of rotation, total number of particles. Okay, that we are done in system. Work energy and power. Work is done when the body is displaced actually through the same distance in the direction of the blood force. F equals to F into S, F equals to F. W equals to F plus cos theta. Work done is a scalar quantity. However, work done is positive when theta lies between 0 and pi by 2. Work done is negative when theta lies between pi by 2 and 3 pi by 2. SI unit of work is joule and CGS unit of work is where 1 joule equals to 10 to the power of 7. Work done by a body does not depend on time taken to complete the work. Internal work or zero work. The work in which muscles are strained but work done is not useful is called internal work. For example, when a person carrying loads keeps on standing at the same place, work done is zero, but he gets tired on account of internal work. Dimension ml 2t minus 2. Okay, power of a body is defined as the time of rate of doing work time as the time rate of doing work by the body. Thus, in power, time taken by the body to complete the power is significant. Power equals to work done by time. P equals to F into V in such that Fv cos theta. Here theta is the angle between force and velocity of the body. Unit equals to 1 watt equals to 1 joules per second. Dimension ml 2t minus 3. Power is a scalar quantity. Keywords: conservative force is a force if work done by or against the force in moving a body depends on initial and final position of the body and not on the nature of path followed between initial and final example. Gravitational force, electrostatic force between two electric charges, all central forces, etc. Non-conservative forces is the force if work done by or against the forces in moving a body from one position to another depends on path followed between the two positions. Example: frictional forces, elastic forces are non-conservative forces. Key formula: work equals to force into displacement in the direction of force. F equals to F into S, which equals to F into S into cos theta. Maximum work cos theta equals to 0 degree. Then F W equals to F into S. Minimum work when 0 degree theta equals to 90 degree. Then F W equals to F into S into cos of 90 degree, which equals to 0. A work done by variable force equals to, here we have integrals, that is W equals to integral of x dot to W equals to integral of x1 to x2 f into dx. Power equals to work done by time taken. Work done by time taken is known as power. So P equals to F into B. The P equals to F into V cos theta. Topic energy and collision. Energy for body is defined as the capacity of the body to do work. Energy is a scalar quantity. It has the same units and dimension as those of force. Some practical units of energy and the relation with SI unit of energy are joules are 1 calorie equals to 4.2 joules, 1 kilowatt per hour equals to 3.6 into 10 to the power 6 joules, 1 electron volt equals to 1.6 into 10 to the power minus 9. 1 calorie equals to 4.2 joules. Work energy theorem. According to this principle, work done by net force in a displacing body is equal to the changing kinetic energy of the body. That is, W equals to K final minus K initial. K final kinetic energy, Ki initial kinetic energy. Collisions. When a body strikes against another body such that there is exchange of energy and linear momentum, then the two are said to collide. Collisions are of two types. Perfectly elastic collision is such that where there is no change in kinetic energy of the system. Total kinetic energy before collision equals to total kinetic energy after collision. Collisions between atomic and subatomic particles are perfectly elastic collisions. Perfectly inelastic collisions is that in which kinetic energy is not conserved. Here bodies stick together after impact. Linear momentum is conserved in every collision, elastic as well as inelastic. Further, total energy is also conserved in such collisions. Kinetic energy alone is not conserved in inelastic conditions. Only kinetic energy is not conserved, linear as well as total energy is conserved. Keywords. Kinetic energy is the energy possessed by the body by virtue of its motion. It is always positive. Potential energy is the energy possessed by the body by virtue of its position. It can be both negative, positive as well. Can be both negative as well as positive. Gravitational potential energy is the energy possessed by the body by virtue of its position with respect to center of Earth or body. Potential energy of spring is the energy associated with the state of compression or expansion of an elastic spring. Internal energy is the energy possessed by the body by virtue of a particular configuration of its molecules. Coefficient of restitution or coefficient of resilience is the ratio of relative velocity of separation after collision to relative velocity of approach before collision. It is denoted by E. Relative velocity of separation after collision to relative velocity of approach before collision. Key formula. Kinetic energy equals to half mv square, where m is mass, v is velocity of particles. Potential energy equals to mgh. Velocity equals to root over 2gh. Force in spring F equals to minus, where K is spring constant, X is compression. Mass energy equivalence E equals to mc square, where m is mass that disappears, energy that appears, velocity of light. C is velocity of light. Now coefficient of resilience E. Relative velocity of separation after collision by relative velocity of approach before collision. That is E equals to V2 minus V1 by U U1 minus for perfectly elastic collision E equals to 1. For perfectly inelastic collision E equals to 0. Each elastic collision in one dimension is V equals to m1 minus m2 by m1 plus m2 into u1 plus of 2 times of m2 u2 by m1 plus m2. Whereas for v2 it is 2 times of m1 u1 by m1 plus m2 plus of m2 minus m1 by m1 plus m2 into u2. Inelastic collision in one dimension. This is a elastic collision in one dimension. Inelastic collision in one dimension is V equals to m1 u1 by m1 plus m2 if u2 equals to 0. Loss in kinetic energy formula is, this is important. m1 m2 u m1 into m2 into u1 square by m1 plus m2 the whole of 2 is loss in kinetic energy. To calculate anything related to loss in kinetic energy. So we got done with this also. We got done with work energy and power, system of particles and rotation and motion, and mechanical properties of solids. One we are left and that is oscillations. Why to leave? We should not leave anything. Let's cover that also. Oscillations. Let's start with oscillations. Revision notes harmonic oscillation, those oscillations which can be expressed in terms of single harmonic function, that is sine function or cosine function. Y equals to A sin omega t or y equals to E cos omega t. Non-harmonic oscillation, those oscillations which cannot be expressed in terms of single harmonic function. Non-harmonic oscillations are those oscillations which cannot be expressed in terms of single harmonic function, that is y equals to A sin omega t plus B sin omega. Y equals to A sin omega t plus of B sin types of omega t is non-harmonic. Periodic functions, those functions which are used to represent periodic motion, that is ft equals to ft plus p which equals to ft plus 2 times of t. Sine and cosine functions are periodic functions. Phase of vibrating particle at an instant is a physical quantity which completely expresses the position and direction of motion of particle at that instant with respect to its mean position. Some facts. In oscillatory motion, the phase of a vibrating particle is the argument of sine and or cosine function involved to represent the generalized equation of motion of the vibrating particle. When the displacement of the particle executing a vibratory motion is represented by y equals to a sine omega t plus phi, then omega t plus phi is called phase of the vibrating particle. Phi is called the initial phase of vibrating particle. Simple harmonic motion. It is a special type of periodic motion in which a particle moves to and fro repeatedly about a mean, that is equilibrium position, and then a result a restoring force which is always directed towards the mean position and whose magnitude at any instant is directly proportional to the displacement of the particle from the mean, that is equilibrium position at that instance. F equals to minus k by, where k is known as a force constant. Here, negative sign represents that the resourcing force F is always directed towards the mean position. Geometrical interpretation of SHM. SHM is identified as the projection of a uniform circular motion on any diameter of a circle of reference. SHM may be linear and angular SHM. The linear SHM is always along a straight line about a fixed point on the line, whereas the angular SHM is always along an arc of circle about a fixed point on the arc. The linear SHM is controlled by force law, where F equals to minus k bar, where k is the restoring force constant, where force per unit displacement. The angular SHM is controlled by torque law, where tau equals to minus of c theta, where c is the restoring torque constant, that is restoring torque per unit twist. Characteristics of SHM. Displacement. The displacement of a particle executing SHM at an instant is defined as the distance of the particle from the mean position at that instant. Velocity is defined as the time rate of change of displacement of the particle at a given instant. Amplitude, the maximum displacement on either side of mean position. We have gone through displacement, velocity, amplitude, acceleration, time period. Acceleration is defined as the time of rate of change of velocity of the particle at a given instant. Then time period, it is defined as the time taken by the particle executing SHM to complete one vibration. Restoring force and force constant. Force constant is the force required to give unit diamond displacement of the body. Here k is force constant. F equals to minus of k. Single pendulum. It is the most common example of SHM. An ideal simple pendulum consists of a heavy point mass suspended by weightless, inextensible, and perfect flexible string from a rigid support about which it is free to oscillate. Time period equals to 2 pi root over n by g. Energy of SHM. A particle executing SHM possesses two types of energy: potential energy and kinetic energy. Potential energy is the kinetic energy which is an account of displacement with the particle from its mean position. Kinetic energy is the energy on account of the velocity of the particle. Keywords. Periodic motion. The motion in which identically repeated after a fixed interval of time is known as periodic motion. Oscillatory motion or vibratory motion. The motion in which a body moves to and fro and back and forth repeatedly about a fixed point is called mean position in a definite interval of time. Some terms related to periodic motion are time period. It is the least interval of time after which the periodic motion of a body repeats itself. Frequency, it is defined as the number of periodic motion executed by the body per second. Angular frequency, it is equal to produce the frequency of the blood with factor 2 pi, that is omega equals to 2 pi p. The displacement, it is the change in position under consideration with time in period motion. Key formula: periodic motion frequency v equals to half t, whereas angular frequency omega equals to 2 into omega into pi. Then we have omega equals to 2 pi by t. Phase equals to omega t plus pi. So which equals to 2 times pi into t by t plus 1. Okay, we have a bit more, then we are done. Simple harmonic motion differential equation. A linear SHM, that is d square by y equals to dt square by dt square plus omega square of y by z. Omega square equals to kilometer. Here m is the mass of the body. Angular SHM, here everything is with theta. D square theta by dt square plus omega square theta equals to 0, where omega 2 equals to CL square L is our definition. General equation. Linear SHM. Y equals to y naught, y equals to y naught sine omega t plus y. Angular SHM equals to 0 naught sine of omega t plus y naught. Displacement or velocity. Y equals to a of sine omega t, y equals to f cos omega t. Velocity v equals to w omega by root over a square minus y square. Okay, as acceleration. What am I saying? Acceleration. A equals to dv by dt, which is minus of omega square a omega sine theta. Time period t equals to 2 pi by omega, which equals to 2 pi by m by k, or 2c equals to l by I by c. The t equals to 2 pi root over l by. Potential energy of SHM, kinetic energy of SHM, total energy. Potential is half m omega square by y square, whereas kinetic energy is half m omega square root in the bracket a square minus y square, then half omega square by a square is total energy. With that we actually get done with physics. How was it? Pretty quick, but oscillation chapter is difficult. Rest all were easy. Oscillation has more to remember. Hope you all had a productive one and got done something with physics too. It's the time, it's like an art session every day. So, what all we got done? First we started with mechanical properties of solids, then we came to system of particles and rotational motion, then temples we went to, and then what temples am I telling you? My mom went from temples in the sense questions. We went to certain thing, and then we went to the formula, oscillations, work, energy and power, and then the main concepts and core concepts are covered. We went through keynotes, key formula, and even applications like the elasticity of rubber band. So with that, this session is over. Let me check the comments I have here. All the best, join the session. Thank you so much. Keep studying well like this kid. Thank you so much. Test tomorrow, yes, I have a test. Let's test scores. I'll see. I'll see when I get 500 subscribers, then I'll reveal. I won't reveal now. You people just come and go, and you don't stay here only. So I won't reveal now. Stay long. Okay, then. I'll wind up this session. Hope you all got something. Not also fine. At least I got something. Bye bye.